Good morning. The amount of weight I lost this week almost seems not quite possible. Yeah, this is the end of week 7, the beginning of week 8 of my keto diet journey. As I realize that I'm now moving into 2 full months of attempting to lose weight and get healthier by following a keto diet. Yay, fad diets. Well, here we are. I've spent last several weeks explaining to you guys how I do, what I eat, what I don't eat, and that really is what it comes down to, is what I don't eat. But before I get too far into the weeds here, let me just document that in week 7 I lost 4.8 pounds, which I'm going to tell you the reason why I didn't think that was even remotely possible, nor frankly did I think I was going to lose any weight this past week. So week 7, every possible thing that could have happened to try and throw off my diet and weight loss happened. I had a sudden change in my work schedule, which pretty much meant I did not get any exercise in at all. The last several weeks I've been hitting that stationary bike every single morning. That didn't happen even once. I had to go into work early. I had to deal with rush hour traffic, so by the time I got home, but there's no time in the morning. I had to get the kids on the bus and get myself out the door immediately. So unless I was going to get up at 4 a.m. to try and hit that stationary bike, it just wasn't going to happen. And then getting home, dealing with rush hour traffic, getting home at 6:15, trying to get dinner on the table, trying to get everybody going, trying to figure out what the hell I'm having for dinner compared to what everybody else is having. It gets to be 7, and then we're winding down, it's 8, and I'm just done. And so there was no exercise this week. On top of that, I had a lot of days that were just, I had to kind of wing it with stuff. I had to come up with different plans for lunch. I ran out of salad stuff in the middle of the week, so the lunch salads were throwing out a lot of whack. And at one point this week, I ended up having a freaking double Whopper, throw away the bun, and just eat the meat. Like, what the hell kind of lunch is that, right? That's going to get me nowhere, but apparently it did. And then yesterday, Sunday, we took the family to the movies, and for lunch after, I'm trying to feed 8 people. We ended up at Wendy's, right? Trying to get a reasonably priced amount of good enough amount of food to feed everybody, and so I ended up eating a double Baconator. Again, throw away the bun. So the whole thing is about avoiding carbohydrates and having a significantly higher fat content. But 4.8 pounds, look, after not being able to exercise, after having to screw around, having myself be tempted by change-ups in the food. We had the family had cheese and crackers for dinner the other night, and my wife bought the cheese to cut up into pieces, the crackers for everybody to have, and some just pepperoni slices like you would have on a pizza, so a little meat and cheese. I'm like, okay, obviously the meat's there, obviously the cheese is there. Those two things work very well with my diet, but she bought me these crackers, and I'm like, how the hell, unless you spend way too much money on a certain type of no-carb cracker, I don't see how this is going to happen. But whatever brand it was she bought, and I guess I'll look it up and put it in one of the comments somewhere. It ended up being only 5 grams of carbs for 5 crackers. I'm like, you know what? I can have, essentially was a nice heavy saltine type cracker with my food. And I still lost 4.8 pounds. And I'll almost go as far as to say 5 pounds, because this is what I'll tell you real quick. When I step on the scale, I step on and off the scale as many times as it takes for me to get the same result 3 times. So when I stepped on it this morning, I got 246.8 pounds. Okay, step off, step back on. 246.6, 0.2 pounds left. I got 48 again. I got 46 again. You know what I'm trying to say. 246.8, 246.6. It kept going back and forth, and I wasn't getting a consensus. So I actually got on and off that scale 3 more times more than I usually do, just to make sure that I was getting a consistent result that I could point to and say, yes, this is the number. And the 246.6 never came back. The 246.8 did. I know it sounds small, but it's important to me. This is me bringing you inside my head as to what all this means to me. So lots of comments from family members, from coworkers about the difference in my appearance. My neck is the primary thing that people are noticing. My stomach is the primary thing I'm noticing. I'm like worried. I thought I was maybe getting a little bloated again this past week, but the numbers say otherwise. I guess the last piece of the puzzle for this week, for week 7, was I made a conscious decision to also reduce the calorie intake again. Now, my hope had been to go down from 2,200 calories down to 2,000. And, working through it with my coach, my son Sebastian, should be a calorie deficit for me. And I will say that I actually did a really good job staying on that. I think twice this week I went over the 2,000 mark by maybe 40, 50 calories at best. There were plenty of times this week where my protein intake was still too high, and I'm ending up with like an 80 or a 79 in the fat. The fat's supposed to be 80, maybe 78 in the fat. But instead of the 15% protein, I'm getting 16, 17, in one case 18. So I'm getting all worried, like I'm supposed to be a high fat diet, and I'm getting too much protein, and I guess I'm trying not to let myself get too comfortable here, but I almost felt like I was overthinking it. Even the carb count one day was at 6% instead of 5, 7% instead of 5. When you look at the overall intake, I've kind of, when I was taking in 2,200 calories, my macro, my fitness pal, by the way, told me that I could have 30 grams of carbs per day. A lot of cases, that's as much carbs as one freaking granola bar. And I have to make my day work around that number. Well, now at 2,000 calories, the number is 25 carbs. And I'm not going to lie, it's not hard. It's really not. Once I've gotten past all of the psychological cravings for bread, for pasta, for the stuff that, oh, come on, this stuff's so good. A cookie, for God's sakes. I would love to have a cookie. I'd love to have a bag of M&Ms. I sat there last night and Googled the nutritional content of one single peanut M&M, and I'm like, all right, that's like 30 calories and 1.5 carbs. I could eat a peanut M&M if I wanted to. That doesn't mean I'm going to. I still rely on the fat bombs, which I'm going to make a new batch this week that I'm going to try to mimic a peanut butter cup with the fat bombs. I'll tell you more about that next week to let you know if it actually worked. Got these nice little chocolate fudge candies that Sebastian made for me. I've still got plenty of those, and sometimes that's the dessert I have, just one of those. It's like 30 calories and 11 grams of fat, no carbs, no protein. So it's going well. It's going surprisingly well. I figured, and this was yesterday and the day before, I figured I'm screwed today, this week. There's no way. I will have lost nothing, or I will have gained a pound. That's what I expected out of week 7. So to lose almost 5 pounds is, it's invigorating. It's exciting. I'm happy, and I am continuing. We're going to keep going. I currently weigh 246.8 pounds. Call it 247, right? 246.8. The goal is 215. So my handy dandy little calculator, because I failed a lot of math in high school, 246.8 minus 215. I've got 32 pounds to go. I have lost 32 pounds to go. Holy crap. But the fact is that I have lost 22 pounds since I started this. I started at 269. I'm now at 246. I've lost 22 pounds. I've got 32 pounds left to go. So thank you for your support. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for sharing your experience in the comments on this. Thank you for just watching this and listening and taking the time to give a damn. So if you're on a weight loss journey, good luck to you. I love to know how your progress is going, and I will check in with you next week for the end of week 8, and we'll see if we can squeeze another 5 pounds out of this thing. So everybody have a great week. Thanks so much.